Hello and welcome to another video. And in this video we're going to be taking a look at a portfolio tracker that I've just written for working with cryptocurrency. It's going to be using VBA to get forms to put in the data for any trades you make. It's going to be using Power Query for updating the current prices using an API from CoinGecko, and also for getting an exchange rate to transfer from US dollars into a different currency, whatever your local currency is. If you guys want a copy of this Excel workbook, pop your name and email in the comments down below and I'll be happy to share it with you. So let's have a look at how this works. So the first thing we're going to do is have a look at this Excel, and at the moment it's completely empty, and this is how I'll send it to you. What we want to do is we want to buy data. No, we don't. We want to add our buy data. So we click on that button there, and it has some values filled in already. Now normally it's only going to have the date of buy and the time of buy. These other values are filled in at the moment because I'd already practiced running through with this form. So that will be today's date, and if you look at the date format, mine is in UK date format, so that means the 3rd of January, not the 1st of March. However, if you are in the United States, use your local regional settings for dates, because that's what your machine will be processing later on. Okay, where we have the time of buy, again use your local date format. In UK we put a colon to separate the hours and the minutes, and here for the exchange, if you'd previously used any exchanges, they will be in this drop down list. You can choose from them, otherwise you can just type it in, and the same with the symbol, so you can choose from the drop down list or you can just type in a new symbol. So let's say back in January, 3rd of January, I bought $1,000 of Bitcoin at $30,000. If I click Add Data, that data has now been added onto my actions. And what it did there is it's added in that one trade, and it's not got closed date or time, so it's an open trade. Now if I go to my open positions, I'll be able to see that trade there listed in my open positions. If I go to closed, I'll see that I don't actually have any trades that have been opened and then closed. Now our lists sheet here, this is simply my used symbols and my used exchanges, which lets me actually populate these lists here. So the used exchange and the used symbol. I'll just cancel that. And the other one we saw there is my open positions, and that is a concatenated list of the date, time, coin and amount that I might want to close for my open positions. And where this is used is on my sell data, and when I choose the trade to sell, it comes up here in that drop down list, and as soon as I choose it, what it then does is it takes that data and it fills it in here into those individual fields. So it's splitting this out again and putting it into individual fields, which will then be compared with my open positions to then add in the date of sell, time of sell and the price. So let's say I sold that today for $59,000 and record the sale. If I go to my actions, what you'll notice is that that sale has now been recorded as being closed, and we'll see here also that I have a buy value and a sell value. So I have my invested amount and my sell value, which of course then leads on to other things. So let's have a look at the current value, and this is showing me the current value of my transaction there. Now because it has already sold, it's not showing me a current value because I've sold it. So I sold it at that price and I got this, but that is included in my profit and loss. So my profit and loss there was X amount, and that was a 96% return on investment over the 3-month period. Not bad, I think you'll agree. So let's actually put in another transaction here. So let's say I'm going to buy, and you'll notice this time nothing else is filled in, but I can choose my exchange, or I could do a different exchange. And let's again say that was way back in January. And I can also change the time, of course. Now this one is going to be ETH. Now I could choose from the drop down, but I've only got Bitcoin in there, so I'm just going to choose ETH there, and I'm going to say I put in $500, and how much was it when I bought? Well, it was 1,500, and I'm going to say add data. Now that's gone in and that's recorded as an open transaction. So if I say open, I can see that I've only got that one open. If I go to my closed positions, I've only got that one Bitcoin one closed. Now obviously over time you're going to build up a collection of open and closed transactions, and if you want to see them all consolidated together, you look at your actions and there'll be a list of all of your actions there. Now if I go to my current value, I can see the two rows. My top one remains the same, but my next row down there for my ETH, well, what this is showing me now is it's showing me the current value for my ETH, because it's at the moment it's at 2100 per ETH. So over time I have made, so from 500 to 700, I'm $200 up, which is a 40% return on investment. So my total profit or loss is this amount here, which is transposed up top. And here what I've done is I've used a query, and I've queried a web page to actually get an exchange rate here, and that then divides the US amount by the exchange rate to give me my GB pound amount. Okay, let's have a quick look at some of the queries first of all. So if I dive in here and go to queries and connections, let's just have a look at that one that gets the GBP USD. So if I double click on that, you'll see this is a query of a website, and it's an xe.com. So if I go to source, you'll see that it is a query of xe.com, and the page is their currency converter convert, and I'm converting one from GBP to USD. So you can quite easily just change that to whatever your local currency is, AUD for Australian dollars, to USD, because that's important, because that's the field that all my pricing is worked on. And that will then just simply update everything within this query. Okay, so that's the query that gets the data from there. The other one that's worth looking at is my current token list. Now this gets from CoinGecko, it gets the IDs of all the current coins that they list, and I think there's about, at time of speaking, there's about 6,600 different coins that they list here, and this will get all of them. And what's important is, because later on I want to get the price of the coins, and what I need to do is I need to use the ID that they recognize. So I can't just use the name of the coin, because these have spaces in there rather than the actual ID has underscores or dashes. So I'm going to use that ID column and then join it together with the coin prices column. So this coin prices, that function there, and this one is actually a function, this lets me choose the ID and returns the price of that ID. So let's have a look at the query that uses that one. So this is the coin prices, and this just gets the price of one of the coins and whatever coin I've used, and it returns that value. Now what I actually did here was, that's just a copy, and if I go down to my current value, what that is doing is it's getting that current price, and it's comparing it to each of the coins that I've got open. So here I have 2 coins open, and it's getting the current price of that coin. So when we come across to the right hand side, you'll see that only working on the open ones, and it's coming back and giving me the current price. So if I look here, the one that's closed, it's not giving me the price for, but the one that's open, it's giving me the current price. So we'll see that actually in the last few seconds the ETH has dropped in price. Actually looks like it's crashing. So that's fine. Now what we also have is, if I close the connections there, we have a load of VBA running in the background. So if I just do Alt F11, there's a lot of VBA running in the background to show the forms. So I actually have VBA for my buy form, I have VBA for my sell form, and I also have this VBA, which is to show the buy form, to show the sell form, and to update the prices. Now those 3 bits of VBA basically run the buttons here, so that shows the buy form, that shows the sell, and that simply updates everything. It also automatically runs this update at the end of the buy data and the sell data, and what it's updating is these other tables, which is effectively the queries are all being rerun. Not all of it. It's not getting the prices and IDs of the coin, so it's not running the API every single time we hit update. Okay, so there we have our current value, and we also have a current value chart, and what we can now see in our chart is filter by the coin, filter by the exchange, or filter by whether it's open or closed. We're also seeing our current US dollar profit or loss and GB pound profit or loss. Now just at a click of a button I can say let's only look at the open trades, and it will apply that filter, and these are showing me the exchange that one is on, and dulling down or greying out the ones that it is not, and the same with the coins. To clear the filter I just click on the X there. Now anyone who's familiar working with pivot tables will know that these slicer filters are a pain, because the actual the slicers themselves are stored in the pivot table cache and they remain there. So if I had deleted something from here, so if I deleted one of these rows, so that is no longer in my data set. If I go back to that chart, well, it's still there. And even if I refresh the pivot table, it's still there. So what you need to do is you need to change some of the settings in the pivot table to fix this. And if you go into the pivot table and then go to the options, and what you're looking for is in the data, and the setting here, number of items to retain per field, retain items deleted. At the moment that's set to automatic, which means keep everything. So don't delete them from the slicer when you've deleted them from the data set. If you change that to none, then any rows that are deleted on refresh, they will be deleted from any slicers. So if I hit refresh, and actually I need to hit the main refresh over here, and because that will update the queries, and the pivot table is based on the queries. So if I now go back here, you'll see that that has refreshed and it's taken out the ones that I had removed. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. I do hope you guys have found it useful. Like I say, it's a very simple, very basic portfolio tracker for crypto is what I'm using it for here as the example. But you could of course use it for any other trades that you might be making or anything you want to keep a record of. Everything is self-contained within the workbook. It uses the CoinGecko API to get the list of coins available and also the prices of those coins at this current time whenever you hit the update. So as you make a buy or as you make a sell, you can add that data into this table here, which will just accumulate, get bigger and bigger. That will be filtered by open positions and closed positions, and they will then feed through into this table here and this pivot table and pivot chart here, and also into these lists which drive the VBA drop-down menus. Like I say, if you want a copy of this, just pop your email down below. I hope it's been useful, and as always, thank you for listening.